Hey everybody, it's Chris, and tonight we're looking at the third of the Royal Line discs from Latitude64. It's going to be their mid, the Trust. Now this does come in the premium plastic like the Rive, so if you didn't watch that review, go back and you can hear me sing the praises of the plastic. It feels great in the hand, nice and grippy, really clean releases. I do love this plastic. As a mid, let's actually talk about the disc and how it performs though. It has a 1.3 centimeter wing, so it's going to be slightly wider than a Suspect, making it a slower mid. By comparison, the Truth family, EMAC Truth, etc. is 1.5 centimeter, Gatekeeper is 1.4, Suspect is 1.2, so a little bit faster than the Suspect, and it's wider diameter than Suspect, and that's going to be one of the comparisons to start. In fact, that was the disc I thought was going to be the main comparison, did a lot of throwing, and at slow speeds, that comparison holds up fairly well. You're going to see how that works out. Trust not quite as overstable, especially for my bad forehand, but backhand, the problem was when I started to power up, it was obviously a longer disc. So I threw in the first run Truth, which will mimic an EMAC type throw, as well as a Glimmer Truth, which is more overstable, to get comparisons to those. Overall, this disc flies really well. I'm going to put the dad pun in there and just say you can trust it on most lines. You're going to see with power, it gives a really nice straight flight, but it's going to fade. It wants to fade, especially when it slows down. That low speed stability, it's going to come down to the ground. I like the way that it comes down. It likes to drift on that hyzer, but that said, hyzer lines and anhyzer lines, it's going to hold those lines too. The ante is going to drift for a long time if you power it up, and then when it slows down, it'll pan and settle down nicely, as long as you don't just completely overpower it. But I'm going to go to the video because there's quite a bit of it. If you have any questions or comments, please put them below so I can get back to you. Overall, I think this is a disc a lot of people will enjoy. It is going to be in between a lot of the molds that are offered right now, so it might be a different slot in your bag. It might offer some things that you're not used to. But yeah, overall, great plastic feel. Lots of lines this disc can hit. Again, the dad pun, you could probably trust it to do a lot of things. So enjoy the footage. Put those questions and comments below. See you later. So we go out to the field for 3 basic throws. Flat, ante, hyzer. First up, flat, which isn't quite true. I put just a little bit of flex on these to give them that nice straight flight with a gentle fade at the end. On ante, you do have to give them the angle on the release. Otherwise, they will fluff out on you. But you can see that stability just fights to a nice pan at the finish. And then hyzer. I talked about how they like to drift. Here you go. Just watch this disc keep going left. It wants to get to the ground. It just wants to do it slowly. Out to the field, forehand versus Suspect. Now I'm just going to tell you that I am working on my forehand and I'm a little bit rusty. So the Suspect was really good for me because the stability covered it. You can see how floppy the discs are. The Trust is a little bit straighter, so that extra little bit of turn I put on it definitely affected it more. Here is me cleaning it up a little bit, better release. Never got it as left as I wanted, so it's going to end up right of that basket. But that throw you can see is much cleaner, better comparison to the Suspect. And then here again is that dirty throw. But I do think this is a good representation. If you give it power, it does want to go straight before that low speed brings it down. Backhand versus Suspect. As I said in the preview, I did think this is a good comparison disc, especially at lower speeds. Not at full power, but you can see if you're going to put it on hyzer, this is a really strong approach disc. It's not going to be similar to a harp. It's not that slow, but you can see powered down. I love this line. You can see I put too much height on it here, but it's going to go straight and then have that really nice fade, just go right over the top of the basket and be easy putting range. The next disc up for comparison is the first run Truth. If you've never thrown an older run of Truth, they're very similar to an EMAC in flight. The first comparison looks weird. Truth is thrown very straight, Trust is flexed out to the right. After they go over the top of the hill, the Trust is going to keep drifting left and actually end up left of the Truth, even though those flights are so different. Here's just a simple looping hyzer. Both are thrown out to the right. The Truth does start a little bit more right, but you can see that extra bit of stability from the Trust is just going to keep pulling it left. That fade is just more of a drifting fade. Now the Glimmer Truth here is going to be a more overstable version of the disc. It is quite a bit more overstable than the first run, in fact, and you'll get to see that in these videos. Here's a hyzer with both of them thrown up over the top of the trees. Both hold the hyzer fairly well. The Trust flipped up just a little bit more, but they're going to both finish well with the Glimmer just a little bit farther out. And then here is that extra stability of the Glimmer, whereas the Trust holds that really nice straight line. You can see I'm having to flex the Glimmer to get it out there, and it's going to fade harder. To recap, the Trust is a mid with a 1.3 centimeter wing, making it slightly faster than approach disc like the Suspect. When powered down, its low-speed stability does capably mimic the approach disc flight. When powered up, the truss does not have the speed of a faster mid like the Emac Truth, but given a little flex, its glide delivers solid distance. Overall, the truss is a mid that can ably fill multiple roles in the bag. As always, I appreciate you watching. If you found this video helpful or informative, please feel free to give it a like, a share, or even subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.